Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. This is a video that I've been really looking forward to doing for quite a while, but this is the first chance I've had to do it. It's going to be part one of the wedding DIY video, so I'm going to be showing you a lot of the things that I did DIY for our wedding, a lot of the things that I couldn't show you until after the wedding because I didn't want to spoil the surprise for any of the guests. I've been dying to show everybody these for such a long time because I absolutely love them. I'm really proud of them and they took a lot of work, some of them, so I'm really happy that I finally get to show you them. This first one that I'm going to show you, I'm going to start with the bigger things. The first one that I'm going to show you was definitely one of the hardest pieces, so I really hope you enjoy looking at everything. I hope you enjoy this video. Definitely give it a thumbs up if it is something that you have enjoyed. And make sure you subscribe for part two, which will be coming in a couple of weeks. So this was probably my biggest DIY project for the wedding. Please excuse the lighting, it's a weird dull grey outside and the yellow of the overhead lights isn't reflecting very well. But yeah, this was probably my biggest DIY project. It's probably what took the most time, but it's also probably the thing that I'm most proud of because it took the longest to do. So the ladder, if I pan down, you can see the kind of ladder that it is. It's just your basic sort of 3-step ladder. My mum actually found this on Facebook Marketplace. It was just sort of like an old beat up wooden ladder. I think she got it for £10 for us. We did about 4 coats of white paint on it to get all the marks and everything covered. So it took a long time to paint. The flowers are the same flowers that you will see that I've used on pretty much everything. I literally just got all of these off eBay. And if you do buy flowers off eBay, like fake flowers, don't be too disheartened when they come because they will look a bit crap. Like once you get them fluffed out, you get it all put together, it does look a lot better and it gives a really nice effect on the day. So I think I used like 4 different types of flowers in these. I just used a glue gun to put them all together, curled them round the top bar of the ladder, and then if I show you, you can literally see at the side it is literally just nailed in. So it's not the neatest of jobs when you get up and notice how everything's put together, but when you just look at it on the day, it has a really, really nice effect. We always knew that we wanted to use a ladder in some way. I really liked the idea of that, but I knew I didn't want to do like a memory ladder for people who aren't with us or anything because I just didn't want people to be reminded too much about who was missing on the day. We did mark people in our own way. We had them there in other ways, but we didn't want to have like a display about it. So then I saw a couple of people doing things like this on Instagram and Pinterest, and I loved the idea. So as you can see down the sides, you've got little almost like Polaroid photos. I just got these off Snapfish. I think it was $6.99 for a set of 10 photos. And then I used my label maker to put the years on the bottoms. So I was originally going to do a photo of each of us from every year, but there was no way they were all going to fit on the ladder. So I did it alternate years, so like one of me, one of him, and so on, going all the way through the years up until we met, and then we do photos of us together from then on. And you can see at the very bottom there, we've got the photos from when we got our little puppy from 2020 onwards. And then in the middle, we've got this L&R, which again, were just off eBay. I think it was £1.50 per letter. They just came in like plain wood and I painted them with the lilac paint that I used on some other DIYs. And then again, just glue gunned these eBay flowers onto them. They aren't attached to the ladder. They are just separate, so I can use them for something else if I want, and they don't sort of damage the ladder in any way. And then in the middle, the framed photos that we've got, these frames were from Wilkinson. It's the same range of frames that I used for everything for the wedding, just so that it would all tie in. And then the ones we've got in the middle are sort of the main life events, I guess you could say. So we've got 2010 when we started dating. That was actually our first ever photo together. Then you've got 2014, which is when we got engaged in Magic Kingdom. And then 2017, when we bought our first house. The photos down the sides, I forgot to say, are just held on with some lilac ribbon, which again, I used throughout a lot of the DIYs. They aren't stuck all the way down, they are just pinned on at the very top, and then again, as you can see, at the very bottom. But they were really secure. I mean, they're still on now after being transported to the venue and back. None of the photos got bent or damaged. It held together really well, and I'm really, really proud of how it looked. I will pop a photo on the screen now of how it looked on the day, just because the lighting, I don't think, is really doing it justice in here. So I'll put that on now, just to give you an idea of how it actually looked when it was set out in the room. We did get a lot of compliments on it, and I am really, really pleased with how it turned out. So next up, I am going to show you the 2 easels that we used at our wedding. I really like the idea of using easels for some of our signage, but it took me so long to find any that didn't cost an absolute fortune. Possibly depending on where you live, you might find people selling them on like Facebook Marketplace or something, but there was none around where we live, and any that I could find online were just so expensive. So I will definitely say that eBay is your friend when you are DIYing for your wedding. I ended up getting these off eBay, and I'm really pleased with how they turned out. Next up of the big things, we have the table plan that I made for our reception. Apologies for the light shining in, for reflecting on the window and on the glass of the frame. Not a lot I can do about that, so we'll just have to try and work with it. So this again, the big frame was from Wilkinson's, the same range as the frames on the ladder. And again, the exact same eBay flowers. I really, really love how this turned out with them draped across the top. I just think it gives a really nice effect. The colours blended in perfectly with the real flowers that we had for our top table display. And considering the garlands of flowers were literally like $1.99, I think it's worked really, really well. I got most of these DIYs done for probably maybe £10 worth of artificial flowers. So I think that is definitely a bargain. The easel that it is standing on, I got these in a pack of 2 off eBay. They again, same as the ladder, they just came as plain wood. You did have to put them together yourself, and then I did paint them white. You could have just left them wood if you wanted. It wasn't like they were marked or anything. They would look fine, but obviously for our wedding, I wanted everything in white. They aren't the best quality. Like, I wouldn't say they're going to last forever. They've held up for the day and the travelling there and back, but I wouldn't say they'll last forever. But I think it was only about £15 for 2, which I don't think is too bad, to be honest. They do collapse as well for transport, so that's really useful. And this frame isn't particularly light, so it does hold quite a decent weight as well. The main DIY part of it, though, was the actual table plan itself. As you'll know, we did have to postpone our wedding we had to postpone it 4 times. So this has gone through quite a few changes, with new people being added on, people dropping out. Luckily, these actual white cards that the names are printed on do just peel off. Even though the double-sided tape is very sturdy, it must be something to do with the type of card. I was able to just peel each of them off each time. So the actual backing on the purple and silver, and then this big sheet of white card I just got from Ryman. The names and the quote on the top there, I did hand draw on because I don't have a big enough printer, and I don't own a Cricut, so I couldn't do anything with vinyl or anything like that. So I just had to be very patient and hand draw it and hand paint it, but I think it turned out pretty good. I think it looks nice. These, however, were printed, which, to be honest, I'm quite proud of myself that you can't really tell the difference. But yeah, each time we postponed and things changed, or even just on our last date, things kept changing. People were dropping out, people were added on. So I did have to change things a few times, but it was really easy just to peel off. The ribbon was from Dunelm, and these little hearts, again, were just off eBay. Anything that I can, I will try and link down in the description, but things like this are really easy to find on eBay. You can get packs of 100 for like a couple of pound, and they do come in really, really handy. So I literally just designed the actual squares on a free version of Microsoft Word, typed up our seating plan onto them, and then printed and cut them out. I backed each of them on purple card, put the ribbon on and the heart, and then just double-sided taped them onto the large piece of white card once I'd already put our names on, and then again backed it on the silver and purple and put it into the frame. These frames I do think are really good for things like weddings because it's not glass in them. It's just like a sturdy plastic. So you're not running the risk if they're getting knocked over of getting smashed glass everywhere. So I would definitely recommend these frames from Wilko's for things like weddings or any big occasions, or even just around the house. Like if you've got pets or kids, you don't want to risk a frame getting smashed and getting glass everywhere. And they were really reasonably priced as well. Obviously this being big was the most expensive one, but even that one I think was maybe like £15. So not bad at all. But yeah, everyone really liked our seating plan. They were really impressed with it. They thought it was really easy to find where they were sitting. And I am really happy with how it turned out. Again, another one of my DIYs that I am very proud of. I'm just going to move straight on to the other easel just because I've got it propped up here next to it. Again, identical easel off eBay, came in a 2-pack, which I just put together myself and painted white with some help from my mum. And then another one of the same frames. If I zoom out, you can see this one is in a slightly smaller size. This was our welcome sign for our ceremony, which we had at church, if you haven't seen already. Again, just the same flowers in a garland across the top, glue gunned together and then glue gunned on the back of the frame. Sadly, this one didn't quite survive. It has come off, so I've just got it propped on the top there for now. And then the welcome sign, again, I just did on a free version of Microsoft Word. I only have an A4 printer, so I did have to do it in 2 portions, and then the ribbon across the middle actually covers the join. Again, same ribbon and same hearts as what was on the seating plan. I did like to reference Happily Ever After in a lot of our sort of DIYs and signage and things along the sort of fairy tale Disney theme, because that was a big part of our wedding. This quote that I've included on the bottom here, this is lyrics from our first dance song. I just thought it was nice to tie that in. And then the pattern on the bottom and the top is actually the same design that I included on all of our invitations and save the dates. It was just a basic template that I found on Google, and then I added a little almost hidden Mickey head to it there as well. Again, I thought it was nice to tie in the invitations to all of the stationery and everything that we had on the day. But again, I was really pleased with how this turned out. I will put some photos in on the screen now, if I can find some, but I'm sure I have. Just to show you what these looked like on the day. I know we did have a couple that really showed this off outside church, and then I think a couple of people took some of the seating plan as well. Sorry, the focus keeps dipping in and out. But yeah, I was really pleased with how they looked on the day. I am going to keep the sort of insides out of these, but then sell on the frames, because I obviously want to keep the bits that are personal to us. But I definitely have nothing that I'm going to be using these huge frames for, so they will be getting sold on. Now I am going to move on to some of the slightly smaller pieces. There is quite a variety of stuff, so I really hope that some of this can inspire you or help you along the way if you're thinking about DIYing for your wedding, or if you've already started it and you're looking for some ideas. I really hope these can be of some help to you. I'm really enjoying showing you everything, so I hope that you're enjoying watching it as well. I hope you're still sticking around, because this video is going to be slightly longer than I thought it was going to be. If you do have any questions for any of these pieces that I'm not answering as I'm going through, please do feel free to just pop them in the comments down below, or come over and ask me on Instagram. Now that the wedding's over, I am more than happy to show you any more details of these pieces or answer any questions that you've got about them. Because it is literally right here next to everything else that I've just shown you, I will start with the wreaths that I made. I did do a groom one as well. I wasn't just being all about me and doing a bride one. But the groom one is still at my in-laws' house, because that is where my now husband got ready the morning of the wedding. But I made one of these for each of us. What I will do, I will put a photo in now, just showing you what they both look like together. I was really pleased with these. These were probably one of my favourite things, and they looked really good on the day. I did cheat a little bit with these. These aren't all sort of flowers that I've put on. I'll put a little sort of thumbnail photo on if I can find it. I actually got the wreath itself from Argos, and it did come with these ones and these ones already on. I think they're £15–20, but I got them in the sale for 10, and that's 10 each. And as I say, they did come with some of the flowers on them, so that was cheating a little bit. But then I put on the purple, pink and the white, and then where's the darker purple? These little darker purple ones I also put on as well. Just glue gunned them in, and then this was actually from Next. You got the bride and groom together. They're supposed to be chair signs to hang on the back of your chair at your reception, or at your ceremony, I suppose, if you have chairs at your ceremony like we did. But yeah, I got these from Next. I think they were £10 for the pair. I could be wrong. I don't think they're still available now, but if they are or something similar, I will link it down below. They did come just as plain wood, and then I painted them silver and put glitter on them just because it tied in more with our theme. And then I used some more of that lilac ribbon just to tie them onto the wreath. And then the hooks I got from eBay. I got a black one and a white one. You can literally just search like wreath door hooks because a lot of people use them for Christmas and things like that. I got a black one for our door and a white one for my in-laws' door, and they literally just hook over the top. My in-laws did have a bit of an issue because theirs is like a newer PVC door, so it didn't quite bend in the right way, but ours, it was fine. And I was super, super happy with these. We each hung one on the front door of the houses for the morning of the wedding, just to, you know, advertise a bit more the fact that it was our wedding day after waiting for so long. And I was really, really happy with them. I love all the colours together. I think the flowers that I added on blend in really well with the flowers that were already there. I love all of the greenery. And again, they blended in really, really well with the actual bouquets and floral displays that we paid for from the florist. So yeah, really, really happy with them. I did actually have a photo took of myself with this one on the morning of the wedding that my maid of honour took, so I'll pop that in on the screen now, just to give you an idea of size and how it actually looks when it was on the door. Next up is another one that I am incredibly proud of, purely because it started out as something so basic and I think I managed to turn it into something really, really lovely. Please ignore the fact that it is just propped up on the radiator. I haven't been keeping it there, it's just so that I can show you it. I'll put a photo on the screen now of what this originally started as, because it was literally just this bit here, like this bottom bit. It was just that, and it was plain wood. I will put the photo in now, just to give you an idea of what it went from to what it is now, because I am really, really proud of what I managed to turn it into. So I literally just used the same lilac paint as I've used on a lot of things on the edges and on the hearts. Painted this plain white and then used the same silver glitter as I used on the bride on the wreath. And then I painted the Mr. and Mrs. in black. This did actually snap and I had to glue gun it back together, but you can't actually tell until you get really close. And then I made a stencil for our surname, stenciled it onto there and then painted it in the same black paint. As I said, I don't have a Cricut or anything, so I can't print it on vinyl to stick on. I've literally just had to hand draw everything. I am a little bit disappointed because it has got a little bit marked there, which I've just noticed. But other than that, it's managed to stay in perfect condition. Then I just used an old frame that my mum had in the house, painted it white, and then if you can see here, the little nails, I've just put 2 little nails in the corners to attach it to the white frame, and then used the same eBay flowers to wind around the frame. And I'm really, really pleased with how that's turned out. I did intend for everyone on the day to be able to use it and take photos with and use it as a frame, but I think I made it so decorative. I have said this in a previous video, I think. I made it so decorative that people didn't realise they could use it. So it was more just out there for decoration. But we did have a couple of photos took with it. So I'll put one of those in now because I do think it turned out really nice for the photos. And I am really, really glad that I did it, even though it didn't get used as much as I hoped. But I'm so proud of the before and after. I just think this was something that I envisioned and then it turned out exactly how I was hoping. And that's all you can ask for when you're DIYing stuff for your wedding, really, isn't it? So these next few pieces I am just going to pop on a chair to show you because they are quite a few of these sort of smaller pieces for our day. A lot of these were really, really easy to do, so these are ones that I would definitely recommend doing yourself if you can, because they were really simple and it definitely saved us a lot of money doing them ourselves than buying them online or getting someone else to do them for us. I'm going to move on to the flip-flop crate that I made. You can also see the dog wandering about in the background there. I'm going to move on to the flip-flop crate. So this was a bit of a last-minute addition. He's very interested in it. This was a bit of a last-minute addition in some ways. It wasn't really last-minute, but it was one of the last things I decided to do. I'd seen a lot of people having flip-flops at their weddings, and people are very divided on whether it's worth the money or not, but I decided it was something I really wanted to do for ours. And I managed to get this crate off eBay. I think it was £15, but it is incredibly solid. It's a lot more sturdy than like any of the other things that I've bought in wood. This is like proper wood. So I just got it off eBay. It was an actual, I think it was an apple crate. So it was sort of dusty and dirty and it had been used. So I sanded it down, I cleaned it out. It was actually one layer thicker than this, but that was going to make it too deep. So I sawed it down, sanded the top of it as well. I think it took about 3 coats of the same white paint I used on the easels. And then again, just added the eBay flowers. And, you know, we're all about the honesty of how it actually looks. Again, it is just pinned back where you can't see it there. And I think the flowers look really nice just on each little corner. I have still got some of the flip-flops in here. I think there was about 12 pairs didn't get used. So I'll show you these little tags while we're here. I just printed these from a free version of Word again. Designed them myself, really simple, just your basic circle with some text inside it. Again, the little Mickey head just to tie it all together. And I got this pack of lilac elastics off eBay again. I think you got about 100 elastics for £1, I want to say. But they were perfect just for keeping each pair of flip-flops together and attaching these little tags to them. So yeah, this was, as I say, a little bit of a last-minute addition. But I did have a spare silver frame, the same as what I used for everything else. So I created this little poem to go with them. I wanted to not draw attention to the fact, but make reference to the fact that we'd waited even longer than we wanted to and than most people would to be able to celebrate their wedding. So we really wanted people to go all out and have the best time that they possibly could. So I just made a little poem to say that and to tell them to grab a pair of these if their feet were hurting, which to be fair, a lot of people did. We've only got about 12 pairs, as I said, left, and I think we had 30 to start with. So that's more than half of them got used, which I am very happy about. Definitely wasn't a waste of money. I'm really glad that we had them. But yeah, this frame, just the same as everything else, printed that on Word with the little design that I used on the invites, and then backed it on the silver card and the purple. Someone's not happy that he's not getting the camera attention. Backed it on the silver card and the purple and then slotted it into the frame. Something I haven't mentioned, I did actually paint the backs of all of these in white just because I didn't like the brown being on display. I know that sounds really picky, but I wanted everything to match in and it was really easy just to give them a couple of coats of white paint, and I do think it made a massive difference to them. So yeah, that was our flip-flop crate. I don't think there's a photo of this, and to be honest, I don't even know if this actually got put out. I can't remember seeing it, and my mum mentioned that she didn't think it had, but that's fine. I think that was the only thing that didn't. So yeah, another thing that I am very happy with. So this next one was actually one of the very first things that I DIY'd for our wedding. The basket, I honestly can't remember where I got, because this is one of the items that I made pre-2020. So this was something I had in mind even back for our original wedding date. So I honestly can't remember where the basket was from. I have a feeling it was eBay, but I couldn't tell you how much it was. I've got a feeling it was roughly about £5 to £10, because I know I can remember that I didn't want to spend over £10 on it, but I couldn't find any in any local shops that were what I wanted. So I think the basket was around £5 to £10. The flowers, again, are the ones that you've seen on all of the DIYs. This was the first time I used them, and as I said previously when I was talking about the ladder, if you buy artificial flowers off somewhere like eBay, don't be disheartened or worried when they turn up if they're really flat and they look really cheap and awful, because these looked so flat and just not worth the money when I first took them out of the packets. But when you actually get them fluffed up and get them all put on together, it really does look lovely, and all of the colours blended in so well together. I knew I wanted a basket for our cards rather than a post box. I just think this blended in a bit better with our sort of Disney fairy tale theme. I did have trouble with getting the lid to stay up, which is why I put these ribbons on the side, because it does tend to try and fall backwards on itself. The bunting I also made myself. I just designed the letters on, again, a free version of Microsoft Word, just in a basic heart stencil. I used the same card that I used for all of the invitations and stationery, and then backed it on the same silver and purple, all just stuck together with double-sided tape, and then the same lilac ribbon again. I cut the little slots in them using a little craft knife. I just measured them out and then just done a tiny slice that I knew would be wide enough for the ribbon, and then I used a needle to thread it through, and then just a basic knot to hold it on. It really was probably one of the most simple DIYs that I've done. The hardest part was probably getting these at the right size to drape how I wanted them to. But it probably is the most simple one that I've done, but one of the ones that I'm most pleased with. And this has been put together now since about 2019, so it has lasted really, really well. It did fit all of our cards in on the wedding day. You can see in there it is actually quite deep. It has also got handles in the sides, which made it really easy to carry up to our room at night after the wedding was over. And yeah, really, really happy with this one. I would recommend it if you're not wanting to go for the post box type thing that most people tend to do now. I just thought this was something a little bit different, and I just thought it fit better with our theme and everything else that we were having. But yeah, again, another item that I was really happy with. I know sometimes DIYing things for your wedding can seem a bit overwhelming, but the sort of feeling of accomplishment and the pride afterwards of seeing what you've created and having people appreciate it is definitely worth all of the effort. As I said, I used the bunting style on another item, which is this confetti tray. If you go in Home Bargains a lot, you may recognise this tray. They pretty much always have it on sale in there. I think the tray itself was $2.99. Just to give you an idea of scale, this is sort of my hand compared to the tray. It isn't huge. It's not sort of like a full tea tray, but it was the perfect size for the little packets of confetti. I did actually put a bit of wood on the underneath and just put a couple of little nails, if it'll focus. There, a couple of little nails in the sides just to hold the legs upright, because they're actually on hinges. And I was finding when I was sort of testing it out that on certain surfaces, the legs were just sliding back in, which I obviously didn't want to happen once we had all of our confetti in it. So I put that little bit of wood underneath just to keep them propped out. And then the bunting I made exactly the same way I did for the card basket. This was a little bit more tricky just because it is a lot smaller. Sorry, I'm not sure what's going on with the focus today. But yeah, it was a little bit tricky just because it was a little bit smaller, but it still turned out looking just as nice. And then I just tied it with the lilac ribbon onto the handles, and then I did actually stick the end one down on each side just to stop it moving about too much. And then our confetti we put in rows in the top. I'll put a photo on screen now just to show you how it actually looked with all of the packets of confetti in. I did want to show you a pack of confetti as well, but it seems like it was all given out and I haven't kept a pack for myself. I did try to keep one of everything just for us to keep as like souvenirs of the day, but it would seem I forgot to keep a pack of confetti. But as you'll have seen on the photo, that's how it looked with it all in. I will actually, if I can, put another photo in on screen now, because I should have some photos of when I made the little confetti packets. It was just little clear sachets off eBay again, and I made stickers for the front just on basic sticky back paper that say "Throw Me" with the little design, as you can see there, that I used on all of the stationery. And then the confetti I cut out myself from tissue paper. I used pink, purple and white biodegradable tissue paper and a heart-shaped punch from Hobbycraft. Honestly, I would say it took me a month to cut out all of the confetti, but it was worth it. On screen now, I will put a couple of our confetti photos. I was so pleased with how it ended up looking. I got a little bit worried in the sort of weeks leading up to the wedding because so many people on Instagram were using sort of dried petals or still live petals. And so many people seem to be using flowers for their confetti that I was a bit worried that I'd made the wrong choice by sticking with paper. But as you can see, our confetti photos turned out amazing. So I'm so happy that I made it how I did. It did take ages, as I say, but I'm really pleased with how it turned out. So it was definitely worth it. So these last few pieces are all very similar in that they are all sort of framed signage that we had on our day. We did use a lot of frames on our day because I really like the way that it looks. I think it looks really classic, really elegant, and it definitely fitted in with our theme really well. I loved how all these pieces look, and even though they are all similar in that they're in the same frames, they've all been done the same way, they're all definitely very unique and definitely worth showing you each of them individually. On the subject of confetti, I thought I would show you this sign that I made. I'm not sure what it's got on it there. Let's just get that off. Yeah, so our church originally, when we first booked, weren't happy with confetti being thrown on the grounds, and to be honest, I like the idea of having our confetti shots at our reception venue anyway. So I thought I would make a sign just to let all of our guests know that we did plan to do the confetti at our reception. So if they were going to bring any with them, not to throw it when we come out of church, and if they didn't have any with them, not to worry because we'd already made some for them. So I just made this little poem, again, just on the free version of Word, used the same little detail that I used on everything else because I think that looks really nice. It ties it all in together. Backed on the same silver and purple card, and then again in one of these lovely frames from Wilkinson. And again, it is plastic, not glass, so you don't have to worry about it breaking. And then I just painted the back in white again, just that it all had that nice sort of clean and finished look. I don't know if anyone actually noticed it, but no one threw any confetti, so I like to think that they did. But it was just a little extra that I made sort of in the last few months, just to make sure people were aware of what our plans were. So, big stack of these. As you can probably guess, these are our table names. So they are all in the exact same silver frames from Wilkinson's. These are the smallest size that I think were £3. I painted the back of every single one in white because something I don't think you necessarily think about when you're sort of doing frames for your table names. Whatever shaped table you've got, someone is always going to be able to see the back of the frame. And once I realised that, I didn't like the idea of it being sort of plain and brown like a photo frame always is. So I decided just to paint them all white to get them all to blend in. The design on them is the same design again that I used on our invitations and save the date cards. The little corner design with the tiny little Mickey head in there that I think, to be honest, a lot of people didn't even notice, but we knew it was there. That's how we wanted it. Just printed on the same linen textured card as the invitations and then backed on silver and purple. I really do love the design of these frames. They're nice and simple and classic and elegant. So we have 8 of these here for our 8 table names. So our table names were themed after the lands of Magic Kingdom in Walt Disney World because that is where we got engaged and it's a really special place to us. So we wanted to tie that into our fairy tale theme. So we have Adventureland, Frontierland, Fantasyland. We had Cinderella Castle for the top table. If you've been to Walt Disney World, you will obviously know that Cinderella Castle is like the main focal point of Magic Kingdom. So it made sense to us to have that for the top table. And we also got engaged at a wishing well next to Cinderella Castle. So we thought that just made sense. And then we've got Tomorrowland, Main Street USA, and then we also included Happily Ever After and Wishes, which are the two older firework displays at Magic Kingdom. At the time I made these, Wishes was the old one and Happily Ever After was the current one. Happily Ever After has now finished and the firework display is something new. So these are the two old firework displays in Magic Kingdom. We had these two for sort of our immediate family. Wishes is really, really special to us, especially to my fiance, so we definitely wanted to include that. And we thought it made sense to include Happily Ever After, because that was basically like the theme of our day, the once upon a time fairy tale, Happily Ever After, so we definitely wanted to include that one. But yeah, everyone loved our table names. I don't think most people would have understood why they were called what they were, but it was important to us to name them that, and we really appreciated it. So yeah, another thing that was really simple, really easy to do, because you can literally just pop them in the back of the frame, but they turned out looking lovely, and I think they actually look like they took more work than they actually did. This was probably one of the easiest DIYs that I did. Last but not least, we have the second welcome sign, which was actually put on the reception desk at our reception venue with the confetti tray. We wanted something at the reception, even though we'd already had the welcome sign at church, just to welcome people to the reception, and then also for anyone that was coming to the night do that hadn't been there all day, it was nice to give them that welcome as well. So I did it in the exact same style, with the ribbon across the middle and the silver heart. It tied in nicely with the seating plan that also had this design on it, and then again the same little stencil with the Mickey heads. This, like I did with the church welcome sign, I had to print in 2 halves, and you can just about see when you get up close, you can just see the join on there, but on the day nobody could notice that, covered by the ribbon. And then again backed on silver and purple and in one of the Wilkinson frames. This is actually the last item that I made that I've used the flowers on. I originally wasn't going to put anything on this because I hadn't on any of the other signage other than the big frames. But I just felt like it needed a little something extra with being a welcome sign. So I just added this little bundle on the corner, and it's just glue gunned onto there. But it's lasted really well. And again, really happy with how it turned out. On the bottom there, I have included the quote, "When you wish upon a star, your dreams come true." Just again to tie in with the fairy tale and Disney theme. You will have already seen this on the photo I put on screen for the confetti tray. You can see there how they were both stood together on the reception desk. And I just think it was a really nice welcome for our guests because it was right there when they first walked through the front doors. So that is everything for today that I'm going to be showing you in part 1. This video probably has turned out a little bit longer than I planned for it to be. And there is going to be a part 2 that will probably be just as long, where I will show you all of the really small things like the favours and things that I made for members of the wedding party, the place settings, the small things like that that are probably things that you wouldn't necessarily think of, but are things that do take quite a bit of time and were quite fiddly, and I was really pleased with how they all turned out. So I'm definitely going to do another video showing you all of those little things. I hope you have really enjoyed this video, and I hope it has either inspired you or give you some help along the way, or I hope you've just enjoyed watching it if you know exactly what you're looking for and wanting to do. As I say, there is going to be a part 2, so if you're not subscribed already, please do click that subscribe button, and don't forget to turn on the notification bell so that as soon as that part 2 goes live, you will get a notification to tell you. I am absolutely loving going through everything from our wedding and getting to show you it all. I have waited so long to be able to show everything, so it's really exciting getting to finally do it and just getting to relive the wedding in a little way. We have been married for over a month now, so it is really nice just to have a reason to look back at everything and get everything back out. And it's also given me the kick up the backside I need to finally get everything sorted that is still sitting around in our dining room from the wedding. So yeah, please do subscribe if you haven't already. Give this video a thumbs up if you have enjoyed it, and I will see you next time for another video. Bye.